It's a 30-minute express escape. Get a dose of destination knowledge, inspiration, and storytelling, showcasing phenomenal travel opportunities. I'm your host and number one travel expert. I'm DestinationWhatever.com. Hey everybody, it's me, DestinationWhatever.com. I'm back. It's been a couple of weeks. I've been off. I've been traveling in the South Pacific doing my thing. And I'm back from that adventure and I have some industry news, some record-breaking news. Adventure Canada's pregnant and it's twins. I'm so delighted to announce that twins are expected for our friends at Adventure Canada in 2026. And to help share the news about what's happening over at Adventure Canada, about these twins, about their upcoming itineraries, promotions, and so many things that are so Canadian, I have Nathan here from Adventure Canada. Welcome, Nathan. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, we are indeed pregnant, so it's very exciting.
Congratulations. Do you know who the father is?
That's a good question, but all I know is that we're pregnant with two ships.
Well,
We're the
there
father
could be
and
two
we're the
fathers
father
out there.
we're the father and the mother together. So if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Well, without further ado, I'll turn it over to you so you can tell us about, again, the growth at Adventure Canada and all the exciting things you folks have coming down for 2026.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I'm gonna share my screen here and show a couple beautiful slides, and we'll walk through the that pregnancy update. I love it.
Absolutely.
So we can see a big beautiful image there on the
Certainly
screen.
can. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. So
Your
yeah,
new logo as well, too. That's looking
oh, that's
really
great.
sharp.
Yeah, I guess in the last video it wasn't this new. Yeah, so yeah, new logo. It's very exciting. Yeah, it is very like it's kind of crisp and sort of modern looking. I like it myself. It's a good new logo. So yeah, new logo as well. Um, so yeah, I'm super glad to be here again in one of these spectacular videos. So yeah, DW has always been a big supporter of Adventure Canada. So it's great to see what you're always cooking up in your travel videos. And it's absolutely wonderful that you're always inspiring people to travel to the off the beaten path places. So this is where we go at Adventure Canada. We're the only Canadian-owned small ship expedition company taking people to the Canadian Arctic. And we go a bit beyond the Arctic as well, like Europe and Greenland. But yeah, being a Canadian-owned company, it's very important nowadays for many Canadian travelers. Also, we do get the American travelers on board for any Americans who happen to be watching this, but just it's probably 50 to 60% of the guests happen to be Canadians who want to stay closer to home but still do an epic trip and see this unique part of the world. So wherever you're from, we're happy to welcome you in the Adventure Canada family. And yeah, we go to these remote, beautiful coastlines that are just epic. So I'll show you a refresher on the who, what, where, who did it of Adventure Canada for anyone who doesn't know us. And
Awesome.
I'll dive into our two new twins that the two new vessels that we're chartering, which I want to show you. I'm excited to show you. And then yeah, I'll finish off with some neat expeditions that you can take with Adventure Canada. Just to introduce myself properly. So my name is Nathan. I work alongside travel partners and travel agent friends like DW. And they tend to bring me in as a special guest, and I get to inspire people. This is me falling in love with Ilulissat, Greenland. I'd never been on a cruise before. This was a picture from 2016. I was just blown away by the landscapes and the wildlife and the icebergs. This is the first time on this expedition I saw humpback whales for the first time, and the first time I saw polar bears outside of a zoo in their natural habitat. So blown away by that, and even more blown away by the receiving tidbits of science and culture from the expedition team. So
Mm.
a lot of first-time guests that they come for the chance to see wildlife and see those unique pieces of nature like icebergs, but then you'll become repeat guests because of the team on board. You come back and your soul is filled up from all the learning. Like, you're hanging out with a team of scientists and culturalists and artists. It makes you feel like a kid again from all the learning. Like what is a glacier even? How do they work? And you'll learn about that from the glaciologist on the trip. And why do polar bears not freeze to death? When they're swimming in the waters, you learn from the marine biologist about counter current veins, for example. So and even on the cultural side, like you will learn Ulakut means good morning in Inuktitut, for anyone listening who doesn't know any words in Inuktitut. So just blown away by that first experience, and now I get to talk about it. So here's a summary. There's a couple more points that'll get added in here. So a summary of what makes us stand out in the world of expedition cruising. So yeah, once again, we're a Canadian company and 37 years of experience behind the wheel, so to speak. And you're going to find a very robust team, again, of artists, scientists, and cultural educators on every voyage. And yeah, we've always been big on responsible tourism since we started in the 1980s. Um, Always been the mission to travel in the most responsible way possible. So we travel through many marine protected areas, national parks. We travel through Indigenous homelands in and out of Canada extensively. This is the lands of the Inuit and Mi'kmaq. So, we make sure to prioritize Indigenous voices and leadership in the way that we operate. The way we do that is listening to Indigenous-led requests wherever we go, whether mandated by government policy or not. So it's always been in our mission to highlight that. And I also want to add here that with our itineraries, you do have the option for Canadian residents to book in Canadian dollars. So you can ask DW about that if you are feeling inspired. So yeah, where do we go exactly? So here's a snapshot of the places we operate for the upcoming year as of this video. So each color is a different itinerary. These places are full of archaeology and history and nature and the remote yet vibrant communities. And again, the chances for wildlife in these regions like polar bears, Arctic birds, seals, and whales. And you can never guarantee wildlife, but I always say there's a 0% chance to see a polar bear if you live somewhere like me in Ottawa, but there's a 0 to 100% chance on our expedition. So that's why many people travel with us, is that chance to see wildlife. And these itineraries, they range from 10 to 17 days in length. So each color is a different itinerary on that map. Yeah, how do we get there? There's no roads in these places, and this is actually the announcement of our twins. So starting next year, this is how we're
There
going
they
to live.
are.
There we are, two twins. They're not identical twins. I don't know if DW pointed that out, but yeah, they're not identical, but they're both still twins with the
It's
venture cat.
easier to help tell them apart that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these twins are, yeah, the small ship. Small ship means 100 to 150 passengers, sometimes even less. So you'll see this the first twin here, it's 78 max passengers. So it's quite a smaller passenger ship. It's very fun to be on a small ship because everyone gets to know each other. It's like this small friendly town vibe on board. And this is a very classic style expedition ship. And you'll see some of the interior pictures here. So the atmosphere, it's always casual dress code on board with Adventure Canada, and you can relax and unwind. Yeah, so plenty of lounges and space to unwind and enjoy. You can see another lounge area here. And good to know that both twins, the restaurant will cater to dietary requests, so lots of gluten-free options, vegan options, and we incorporate local foods where we travel as well too. So it's a great way to give back to the local communities and for you to try local cuisine like Arctic char that's freshly caught that day in the Arctic might be featured on for dinner that day. And we're gonna buy local provisions from the communities that we stop in, which is always part of our operation. There's a library just behind one of those lounges on the Ocean Nova, and the ship also has. So we're including Wi-Fi on the two new vessels, and you get your 3 meals included and tea, coffee, water 24/7. There's a gym on board as well. So everything you want on the ship is there on the ship. And here's the second bad boy, so Exploris 1, which you might call home starting next year. So 144 passengers max. And you can see lots of space and light on this vessel. This is, for example, where we would have evening presentations and gatherings, and as well as live music. There's always usually 1 or 2 musicians on the expedition team. You can see another beautiful observation lounge with a tea and coffee station here. And the third lounge, so lots of space and comfort on the Exploris 1. And this is for those who want more of I'd say more of a premium experience, because the Exploris 1, we're actually going to be including alcoholic drinks 24/7 and 24/7 room service. So slightly more inclusions on the expeditions with Exploris 1. And we're still going to have our Adventure Canada charm and casual dress code here. And if I happen to be traveling with you on Exploris 1, this is where you'll find me most of the time. So you can enjoy these magnificent views on the jacuzzis. There's actually 2. There's one on the mirrored side on the deck. So yeah, there you go. That's the Exploris 1. And every cabin on Exploris 1 will have a fridge stocked with drinks, and the beds on Exploris 1 can be converted from matrimonial to twins or vice versa. Whereas Ocean Nova, one of the differences is that it's a specific bed configuration in each cabin. So Whatever way you want to look at it. Some trips are operated by only one of the ships. So just again, reach out to DW if you have questions on the ships or questions on the configuration, and he can help you out. And here's some more info on the second twin there. So you can see a gym on board as well. So again, everything you want on the ships are on the ships. The ships are very nice. We're excited for the twins to get out there and start working.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the whole idea of expedition cruising though is getting you off the ship. So it's almost like the twins are exciting, but it's the excitement is always still the destination. But that's the actual true excitement. So getting you off the ship, but we get you on the ship just to kind of kick you off the ship every day and see the actual communities and landscapes. So we can always unwind when you get back on the ships after an excursion.
It's really cool that you didn't do two exact twins, because sometimes, tour operators, cruise operators have the same ship and it's just a mirror image. Here we
Mm,
have two different options. I think that's really important for
yeah,
consumers. It gives a
yeah,
bit more
exactly.
choice.
Yeah. Yeah, like the way I kind of summarize it is Ocean Nova, it has a simple classic design, and the Exploris one kind of looks more like it has an elegant design to it. So yeah, they're different. They're both very good, but different in their own ways. So it's yeah,
Well, I
exactly. So
want
it
to
gives
go on both.
you a choice. Yeah. I want to go on both. Yeah. Yeah. People love the Ocean Nova, like people that have been on it before with like the previous company that chartered it, and people love it. Yeah, it's they're both very good ships, but just have a um different set of inclusions slightly, and then the different kind of style on board. But yeah, it gives you choice, and you can do both. Why not? Book a trip on either one in the coming years, and you can try both ships. Why not? Um,
In the interest of science, I think that's what
yeah.
people need to do. They have to book it both
Yeah,
ways.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the interest of science, you gotta get on both our vessels in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
That's your homework, whoever's watching this. Yeah, and speaking of getting off the ship, I'll show you some of the places that we step off. And I won't go through every single itinerary, but just a popular trip from each region. So this expedition to Scotland and Faroe Islands is encompassed into one. So if you want to include the Faroes on your Scotland trip, this is an epic way to do it. So starting in Aberdeen, ending in Glasgow, and we go up, spend several days in the Faroe Islands, and still see the wild islands around Scotland. You can see, just to show you some of the behind the scenes of the maps, we visit the hard to reach areas around Scotland. So for example, there's geological gems like Staffa, natural basalt columns. So if anyone's been to the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, you'll learn from the geologist on board. This is similar geology, just on the Scottish side. So our specialist storyteller will also go into the great detail about the myths and legends that connected this place to Ireland. The two giants would fight from across the seas. So some of you might have heard the Finn McCool stories from those Irish legends and stories. So you get that those European kind of legends and myths from the storyteller, and plus you're hearing the geology side of it as well. So science and culture kind of mixed in there in these places. This is just the Scotland itinerary on the Exploris one. So just focusing on Scotland, but we also visit kind of new for us. We're visiting Tory Island, Ireland. So just for a day, small island with an artist community and an art gallery. So as long as weather and nature permits, we go there as planned. You can check off Ireland on your passport, and we continue through the islands of Scotland from going from Aberdeen to Glasgow. Here's the ever popular Puffin. So on Fair Isle, which is an island in between Shetland and the Orkneys, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a very small remote island in Scotland. We're visiting a puffin colony, and you can get relatively close to them. Very small and cute, so you get those good photos. And so wildlife is actually pretty abundant in Scotland. It's not just about the historic sites and towns. There's a lot of birds, and I actually saw yeah, two seals, and we saw dolphins when I was there 2 years ago. So you get the wildlife in Scotland actually quite abundantly.
I think consumers need to know that Scotland can be an expedition
Mhm.
destination. We often think about like the castles and the things on the ground, and that's fabulous. But the islands and the Hebrides, I mean, the
Yeah.
way you guys are able to get people right up into the nooks and
Mhm.
crannies, how
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is an expedition destination for sure, and even Iceland here. So, with the Iceland expedition, we do the circumnavigation going from Reykjavik to Reykjavik, and new for us, we're actually kind of even more expeditionizing the trip by going into East Greenland. So this is new for next year. We used to just kind of do the focusing on Iceland, but now we're adding 2 days in East Greenland. So it's actually Iceland and Greenland if you do our Iceland circumnavigation. And this part of Greenland, not many ships go there. I've heard from people saying that there's probably less ships touching that part of Greenland than there is in Antarctica. So it's very kind of pristine nature and fjords that we're seeing on that part of Greenland, and also high chance for wildlife like whales and the Arctic birds, for example. So this is already very, very popular for early bookings for next year. So yeah, Iceland circumnavigation, but it is also visiting Greenland as well. And here's a beautiful shot of some of the dramatic cliffs you can see around the coast of Iceland. So we're getting up to like the northern coast of Iceland. That, if you just go into Reykjavik for like a layover, you're not going to really have time to get to those nooks and crannies of Iceland. Lots of bird colonies here for the bird lovers. And usually on all of our expeditions, we have an ornithologist, so a bird studier, as well as a geologist. And on our Iceland circumnavigation, often we have a volcanologist as well, which is very, very fitting to talk about the volcanic and geology of Iceland. And we have two departures for this expedition, so one on each of the twin vessels there. So it takes you from Iceland to Greenland. So you got two departure choices. This journey follows the epic saga of the Vikings. We see many Viking settlements. Many of them are UNESCO World Heritage Sites along that southern coast of Greenland. We're also visiting the vibrant Inuit communities in Greenland. So even the capital of Nuuk there, you can see. Yeah, so this is big for history buffs and really big for photographers and anyone in between. Here's Havalsi. So this is where you can walk along the ruins of it's a major Norse settlement. And seeing the ruins can be quite haunting. Like these are very remote places, and it's a testament to the extreme weather and climate that people endured to build here and survive here. So it's really kind of like a haunting, deep feeling that you'll get in some of these places. This is a big bread and butter journey that we do every year. So Northwest Passage, we've been doing it for almost 40 years. It hits all the things you'd want to see on an Arctic expedition. So icebergs, glaciers, the landscapes and the archaeological sites like Beachy Island, like the Beachy Island graves and the abandoned RCMP outposts. There's Inuit communities and a very high chance for a variety of wildlife on this Arctic, because we're above the Arctic Circle and there's lots of variety of landscapes and wildlife up here. Some of the places are national historic sites, like I mentioned Beachy Islands. This is famous for the Franklin explorer graves, as you can see in that shot. It's a very desolate yet beautiful landscape, and you learn from our historian the history of the place. Like you can imagine what these early explorers went through before that modern technology that we have now. And as well, you learn the Inuit perspective as well, not just the British stories. So so you have to get on the ship and learn that firsthand and see the site. It's really awesome and epic. This is a shot of an abandoned RCMP outpost at Dundas Harbor in Nunavut. The pictures, they don't do it justice. Like this is a really awesome picture from Jackie Matichuk, but the pictures don't do it justice. To imagine you're fully like surrounded by this landscape. I often get goosebumps being in these remote areas and seeing these sites. Like we're the only tourists here for hundreds of miles when we land. And it's a place you can really hear the hum of the earth. You're away from many big cities. And yeah, they're just very emotional places for many people. We also have expeditions that are visiting Labrador. So the highlight here is the coastline of Labrador. So this is like actually in northern Labrador, a place called Nunatsiavut. It's an Inuit region in northern Labrador, and namely the Torngat Mountains. So you can see the picture on the side where we spot polar bear on the coast from a Zodiac cruise, for example. And yeah, the Torngat Mountains, it's a national park. It's comparable to the Rockies, but you're next to the ocean and very extremely difficult to access on your own. It's a very isolated national park. It's hard to get to on your own. There's no roads that go there. And we do get off the ship here every day and do landings amongst the tundra and the fjords. It's a photographer's paradise because everywhere you look, it's like a postcard photo. It looks like Norway, but it's right here on our side of the ocean. Not many even Canadians really know about the Torngat Mountains, but it's a whole mountain range that's right there. Oh yeah, and then the last trip to highlight, we do a Newfoundland circumnavigation from St. John's to St. John. So this is extremely popular because it's an alternative to driving around the island on your own or with a coach company. We might be, if not the only one of the few only cruise companies that do circumnavigation by water on Newfoundland. So like the alternative to driving around on your own, which is still one way to travel and it has pros and cons, but you get all your meals included on the cruise, and you're seeing the fjords and the coastlines from the water, while we still step foot into the communities and get that dose of Newfoundland culture and music and food. And yeah, one example of a community that we always try to stop in is Francois, Newfoundland. So it's pronounced Francois by locals. And this town, you cannot drive or fly to it. It's only accessed by sea. There's no external roads leading out of the town. It's at the end of a picturesque fjord, as you can see in that photo. And yeah, only 63 people live here, according to one of the last censuses. But it's a bustling fishing village. And whenever we visit Francois, we're welcomed by the locals with a traditional kitchen party. So with live music and food that can be found in the town hall while we're exploring the town. So it's always fun to stop here. And yeah, with expedition cruising, a lot of the itineraries can undergo changes throughout the journey, which is a fun part about it. So even though we go in the summer, typically we never know where ice will be or what the weather around the corner will be. So nature can kind of steer our path, and if we cannot get into a community, we'll have a plan B or a plan C, sometimes plan D, sometimes plan E, F, sometimes plan G and H, because we've had 37 years operating the region, so we have a lot of back pocket plans that are always sort of on the go just in case. So it's a big difference with expedition cruising versus the mainstream cruising. It can be very dynamic, but we keep it transparent. So we'll show the ice charts and the weather conditions throughout the journey on board. So you're kept up to date with plan A versus plan B. And it's all part of the adventure. So it becomes a fun component of the trip to have that dynamism in the itinerary. And yeah, let's say you're inspired by all this, and this is how you book. So I mentioned in the last video as well, but your travel expert advisor TW can take care of you. His contact info is at the website, and he's there to package everything together for you. Flights, travel insurance, any pre and post hotels or pre and post even trip components that are not just our cruise, but you could do like a land tour before or after if you're going into Scotland, for example. So that's the importance of working with travel advisors. They can be that one-stop shop and put it all together for you. So there you go. Yeah. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with us, and hope to see you join the Adventure Canada family. If you already are part of the family, then welcome back if I see you on board. So there we go.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Um,
Any,
and just to let you know, I'm available if the twins need a godfather or anything like that. Just get in touch. I would love to be that person. But we've seen a lot of news lately. There's just an increased interest in people exploring Canada at the moment,
yeah.
both in terms of Canadians, but also people from outside of Canada are coming and driving bookings. So, it is a time right now to be thinking about what we want to do for 2026
Yeah.
and doing things in Canada.
Yeah.
It's a perfect match because I love, something different. I know you and I are both geography nerds, and your products go to places that, most people could only dream of that you just can't reach. And
Mm.
so I love having you guys here, and you're always welcome to come on by destination, whatever.
Yeah.
What would be your dream trip out of your catalog, Nathan, if you could pick
Oh,
something
man.
to do next?
Well, I've done like how many? I've been on one as a passenger. Like that first photo of me, that was me before I worked here. I was a travel advisor slash passenger on that expedition. So let me see the ones that I haven't gone on yet. Well, I'm actually this summer I'm going on the Iceland to Greenland, which is
Oh,
like I'm
wonderful.
very excited because I've been to the Western Greenland now 3 times. Like Ilulissat, that picture of Ilulissat where the icebergs are on the horizon there, and that's my favorite place in the world to see Ilulissat. But Iceland to Greenland, that itinerary, we're going Iceland to the southern and eastern coast of Greenland, and then ending in either Nuuk or Kingalusuaq, depending on which ship or trip that you're looking at. So yeah, that's a part of Greenland I've never been to before, and yeah, I'm excited. I've gotten into history. I never gave history a second thought before like 2016 when I went on an expedition because it was my memory of history back then was like from high school where you kind of like have to memorize things. But on when you learn about the historical places on border expeditions, it's more of like the why and the how and like the people dynamic to it. It's way more interesting than it was. And not to put down like the education system, but it's just way more interesting hearing it from like an actual like passionate historian. And so I'm excited to see like the Viking settlements on the southern coast. Uh,
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
so maybe in the fall I can give an update on how my trip was with that trip.
Absolutely.
It's a really epic
Absolutely.
journey, so there you go.
And so you've been to Iceland a few times, but have you been to or Greenland a few times, but have you been to Iceland before?
I've been to Iceland. I did a land tour on one of the small group tours that you can book DW. So I did a land tour back in the day on Iceland, and yeah, so I saw it by land. It was just for it was 6 days, so it was kind of like in Reykjavik. We spent a day beforehand, did the tour for 6 days, and then so I've only seen kind of like around yeah Reykjavik a bit, but yeah, we might spend some time on our own before. What you can do as a guest booking this trip. So when you reach out to DW, you can this is what me and my wife are going to do. We're going to go into Iceland a few days before and do some of the things around Reykjavik that we maybe didn't see that years ago when we went, and then yeah, join the cruise, and then we're going to take off and see part of Greenland that we've never been to before. So yeah,
Perfect. And another thing I like to get people to think about if you're going to do expedition anywhere in the world is to maybe think about doing something after the expedition because I personally find when I'm on an expedition, I burn more energy than when I'm on any other type of travel. And, it's go, go, go. It's doing exhilarating things. And when it's over with, sometimes it's nice to have a spot to
yeah,
chill out for a few days before getting on
yeah,
the plane.
yeah.
So maybe in Iceland going to that Blue Lagoon or something like
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Even like a good thing to do is like 'cause a lot of our northern trips have a charter flight component. So the charter flight, it's usually like the last day, and it's all Adventure Canada team and passengers on that flight. And it might go back to either Toronto or Ottawa, or some of the Canadian airports. But even getting on that charter flight and then to spend like a post night hotel like after that's done, like in Toronto, even just like have 2 nights in Toronto and just at a nice hotel somewhere and just kind of yeah relax. And that's even a good idea as well too. If you're kind of ending the trip in Canada, it doesn't have to be in Europe or Scotland. But yeah, it's always good to actually have like a relaxing sort of day at least at the end because you're doing lots of walking and this and that, like you said. So
Oh, I don't know. Are you like that as well too? Do you find you just burn
I,
so much more energy on these
we
expeditions?
always yeah any trip like literally any trip I do like we'll have some kind of we always do a post night because it's nice to have like that buffer night as well too in between like flights or like if you fly into Toronto and then I take a train back to Ottawa I want to have like a buffer night then a day or so just to kind of relax after doing the actual because it's always like that like you do a vacation and you need a vacation after your vacation which is it's good like it's that means it's a good vacation if you need a vacation after your vacation but then like it's not so much you can relax on board, like you can make the trip as relaxing as you want, but you kind of get FOMO a bit because like if say you're like, oh, I'm gonna just stay on the ship every day and just relax on the ship and drink my cocktail. But then you get FOMO and you actually want to get out into the communities and do the photography walk and do the birding walk or so yeah, you do burn a lot of energy. Just because it's encouraged,
Totally.
you get encouraged, even your own self encourages yourself to get off the ship and do these activities.
Well,
So
that's what's exciting about your new ships because I find a key part of a successful expedition is
mm,
having that spot where you can come back and
mm,
recharge and be
yeah,
energized for the busy day ahead, have,
yeah,
delicious food to eat.
mm,
And it's the convenience of unpacking once. Everybody always
yeah,
says that when you're on the water,
yeah,
and it's true.
yeah,
But it's also because you need to get your batteries charged up
mm,
because one day after the next, it's just full on, full on,
yeah.
full on. And that's what makes these trips so memorable and so
Mm.
one of a kind.
No, I
So,
agree. And you are yeah you are well fed. Like we actually have it's not even 3 meals. It's usually 4 meals a day because we have afternoon tea. If we have an excursion in the afternoon, you come back and there's afternoon tea, which is basically a meal because there's sandwiches and coffee and tea and like dessert and pastries. So you get yeah you're well fed. You get 4 meals a day and plus yeah I've often when I can taken a nap after like say the morning excursion and you get back for lunch. You can kind of squeeze in like a half-hour nap. You can and then recharge your juice. Then you might have a second excursion that day for the
oh,
afternoon.
absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
recharge your phone while you're at
yeah,
it too, because
yeah.
you're right. You can't take a bad
Totally. Yeah.
picture when you're out there. So,
So,
yeah, that's wonderful. Well, folks, this has been a wonderful way to get inspired for again things here in Canada and across the North Atlantic region and up into the Northwest Passage to places that you might not have even thought you couldn't get to because there's no roads, but yet there is a way we can get you there with Adventure Canada. with twins on the way, two new ships. It's going to be an exciting 2026. And if you're really itching and you're looking to go as well, there are still some options for 2025 as well too.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you can always get in touch if you're just looking to take the plunge and drop the hammer, book something for this summer. So Nathan, thank you so much for being here tonight, and definitely we will have
You.
you back to hear all about Iceland and as well Eastern Greenland once
Yeah.
you get up there. That's going to be fabulous.
Yeah, I'm happy to come back. I love your videos. So
Wonderful, wonderful. Any final remarks tonight before we sign off?
yeah, just get in touch with DW. And we actually a good remark. We do have solo cabins on the two new twins. There are solo cabins on every
Yes,
expedition. There's a limited number, so they sell out. So get in touch soon. And worst case scenario, if the solo cabins are sold out on a trip that you want, we have the option to pair same gender roommate on board. So and it's actually not bad to have a roommate because especially on the Exploris one, the cabins are quite spacious and they're all exterior cabins. So Ocean Nova and Exploris one, both twins, they're all outside so you have a window at the very least. So if you have a roommate, it's not bad to have a roommate. But that's like the worst case scenario for solo cabins. So
totally. And it's been my experience on expeditions, if I'm traveling solo or if I'm traveling with people, whatever, that there's such a harmony and gelling with
Mhm.
people on the ships because, again, we're talking a small group of people, it's a small culture, and everybody's there for the same thing, the same interest. And so I often find it to be like a birds of a feather kind of
Yeah.
situation. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like I always say, it's like a natural camaraderie when you have on a small ship because everyone's on vacation, so everyone's in good spirits just like at the beginning, and then yeah, everyone's basically there to learn and get off the ship and do these things, and so it's always very good spirits on board.
absolutely. Your
So
roommate might be your next travel BFF, the Thelma to your Louise,
exactly,
if you will.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I should say, don't drive the ship off the cliff, ladies. But anyway,
yeah.
perfect. All right, everybody. Well, this wraps up for tonight's presentation. But if you want to, come and hear about more travel, I'll be here next week. I'm going to talk about Morocco, and I'll be here with another travel agent. Helene and I are going to talk about her trip and my trip because we did different things, and that will take you all around Morocco. So that's happening a week from now on the 31st of March. And then coming up in April, I have a presentation coming up about my recent trip down to the South Pacific on Aranui. And so hopefully I'll be joined with my travel buddy. And again, we're just going to shoot the breeze and talk travel and get people inspired for two French speaking destinations, but very different French speaking destinations. So, with that being said, in French, Nathan, merci beaucoup. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And I look forward
Yeah.
to the next time we have you here at
Yeah. Bon,
destinationwhatever.com.
bonsoir. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, bonsoir aussi. Au revoir.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. This has been a Destination Whatever travel production. Subscribe for all my content. Facebook at Destination Whatever, Instagram at destinationwhatever.travel, and YouTube at Destination Whatever. Or head on over to my website, destinationwhatever.com. I'm your #1 travel expert, helping travelers nationwide explore the world. So get in touch and let's make your travel fantasies come true.